Greetings everyone, my name is Greg. In this video I am going to be talking about false beliefs and when false beliefs are confronted with new evidence. All of this came about because this past Tuesday when I was at work I went in on my day off because it was a double truck night, and when we got there the first truck was done and the second truck unfortunately had not showed up. Now typically when there's double truck nights, which means two semis that need to have freight unloaded, they're both there typically, and one is either unloaded for us by the managers or those that are there on day shift. They get started on around like 2 o'clock, and when we come in at 4, it's either completely done or most of the way done. And then we can jump right from the one truck to the other and have both of them unloaded by lunch. That is when things are going well, or even close to optimal. Well, on Tuesday, we went on to an early lunch because they were expecting the truck between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. Well, we came back from lunch at 8 o'clock, and we were told the truck won't be there till 9. And then we were doing other work, and 9 o'clock came, no truck. 10 o'clock, no truck. It was 10:30, truck showed up. Our lead sent us on our last break, which I had said he should be nominated for sainthood because I'm a smoker. And when I came back from my break, I'm typically the one that throws the truck. And in a situation like that, pretty much 11 o'clock at night, or damn near 11 o'clock at night, and a 2,000-piece truck that needs to be unloaded, all my dials are going to be turned up, and I'll be ready to, in a sense, go to battle, to go absolutely berserk in the truck. That's where I am the most comfortable, because it's what I've done for damn near a year. Well, there was someone else in the truck throwing the freight, and I was a little bit pissed. And frankly speaking, at that point I was just a little bit miffed. But the longer it went that I wasn't getting in that truck, the angrier I was getting. And at one point the guy in the truck had said to me, "You're not the fastest." And I made a leap that I don't think Evel Knievel could even have made the jump. I had said, I'm not slow. And it's one, in hindsight, that night after I was off work and we were done, I realized, wow, that's a jump. To be, you're not the fastest, to going to being, are you saying I'm slow? The thing is, and the truth of the matter is, we were done, the truck was done by 12:30. The guy in the truck managed to throw 2,000 pieces in an hour and a half. So it's one, I was definitely confronted with new evidence. Now there's a reason that I had the belief that I did. Number one, I was the primary one for the past year that has thrown the truck. And when we have had our back to the wall type of thing, I would go in the truck and just be going crazy, throwing boxes and keeping the rollers loaded so that people could unload them and get through the truck. Well, very few of the others care to throw the truck as often as I do. I don't mind doing it day in and day out. So I had the belief that I was the fastest. It wasn't true. However, there's also, I had gotten my eyes checked shortly after I started there and realized I need bifocals. I haven't gotten the new glasses yet type of thing, so it's one, because I don't like the idea of needing bifocals. So it's one, I don't have to worry about reading what's on the boxes when I'm in the truck. So it's more comfortable for me. But the bottom line is the belief that I had, and it was a justification that I used. Because the thought of, since I'm the fastest, in that belief that I had, I need to be the one in the truck type of thing. And the thing is, that's simply not the case. Because one of the things I had said to another guy the next day was, even if I would have thrown that truck faster than he did, at that point it's semantics. Because if he was able to have it done in an hour and a half, we had a 2-hour window because we leave at 1. So it's one, at that point, it doesn't really matter. Because there is a difference if someone is too slow. That it would take, and you would be there after the time that you would be getting done. But if somebody is within the same range, because I've since checked my speed and so forth, and it ranges between 1,000 pieces to 800 to 1,000 pieces an hour. Now, that is under, to use the term, typical, normal, non-back-to-the-wall type of standards. Just busted my ass. The thing is, I don't know. And the truth of the matter is, there's all kinds of justifications I could have tried to use. Like, I might have been able to do better and so forth. And that when I threw a truck, there weren't the same number of people on the line. Different things were not the same. So, in a sense, you don't know, I might be able to type of thing. And this goes along the lines of what the religious can try to use to defend their false beliefs. Because a false belief, it doesn't matter if the false belief is in something job-related or religious belief or any belief. If the belief is false and it is based on either faulty data or no data, when new evidence comes in that disproves or debunks the held belief, the belief must change. You must change the belief to fit the evidence. Because otherwise you're not being intellectually honest. And that was something that I had realized this. And I realized just how far, in a sense, out of line that I was in getting upset at someone else being in the truck where I felt was my spot. The thing is, this type of thing, it opened my eyes to not just with my job, but also with the aspect of with the religious. And I had said, I had mentioned the idea of having a contest between the unloaders of who can throw the truck the fastest. Because it's one, we're guys, we're going to compete with each other. It's just the nature of the beast type of thing. And healthy competition can be a good thing. It's one we can push each other and push ourselves to be better than we had been. So competition in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. But the thing is, it's one, I realized this would have implications with religion, and that was something that the other co-worker that I was talking to is also an atheist, like me. And I had pointed out, because I was feeling very humbled on this past Wednesday, when I went in and the guy that I had words with, he wasn't there, and the other guy that I talked to said that when he had gone in the truck at one point to help push boxes and so forth, and he had said that the guy had said about he wanted to apologize, and he had told him, just get the truck done, don't worry about it. And I had said to him, you did the right thing. Because that night I was my emotions were wound too tight for my logical, rational mind to get involved. Because when I get angry, and I think this is the case with a lot of people, that when we get angry, that the logical brain will shut down. And the primitive, primal, aggressive, angry, hostile, animalistic mind will take over. And you won't think as rationally, as logically. You'll think more emotion-based. And that is where miscommunication and arguments can happen, because you're not using your logical, rational mind. The thing is, when I realized just how wrong I was, I realized it wasn't the guy that was in the truck that needed to apologize. I knew it was me. And it didn't matter to me that he's religious and so forth. That's beside the point. That doesn't factor in at all, because the issue was the belief that I had that I was. And the ironic part was I wasn't wanting to have anyone else throw the truck, and I almost think, looking at my own behavior and psychoanalyzing myself, was I didn't want someone else to throw the truck because I didn't want anyone else to show that they were faster than me. And that, in turn, can correlate to religion with they don't want to look at any belief system or any way of looking at what is in their so-called holy book other than the way they look at it, because they don't want to see anything that might conflict with their false belief. They don't want to admit it's a false belief, and they don't want anything to possibly present any type of evidence that it is. And it's something that, be it at a job or with religion or with anything, what this shows me is any of us are capable of falling into this trap. And that it is something that we have to be mindful of. Because it's something that I realized, and I had said, even with the competition and competing with each other type of thing, one of, even if it would turn out that I am, or I become the fastest type of thing, I had said to the one guy, I don't think I'd want to know. Just because of the way my mind went to I have to be the one to throw the truck because I am the fastest. That's horseshit. It's not anything that would, I mean, it does come down to ego. And the idea of, with religion, that the beliefs that somebody has, that it has to be true because they can't think of another explanation. It's the same type of thing. They're holding on to a false belief that they don't want to consider any other options or any other evidence because that would threaten the false belief. And this is something I wanted to mention, even though it is, in a sense, me eating a little bit of humble pie. I'll do it. Because I recognize that there are implications that are broader than just the aspect of my job. That this can tie into how people, religious, react when confronted with the evidence, especially with what's coming out with my interviews with Mark. Christians would really, may not want to consider or even hear what Mark is saying because it would confront and debunk the belief that they have that would, if they would be honest with themselves, they would have to realize it is a false belief. And then if they're going to be intellectually honest, something that I think, for the most part, most Christians, at least the fundamentalists, absolutely refuse to be, even though they will try to act like they are. The thing is, they would have to come to grips with. But what they would do is turn around and find a way to justify their false belief, to maintain that false belief. And that is something I wouldn't do. And the friend of mine that is a co-worker, he and I had said about being an atheist and skeptic, and he was the one that pointed out that you had a belief that you realized was false, new evidence came in, and you had to change the belief. And he had said it's not strange or anything. It's what I would expect from someone that is a skeptic to rational thinker. And that was when the dials in my brain went off, and I realized this has implications to religion. And that is something that I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, because I'm sure there are other examples of people having false beliefs other than religion even. And I'd be curious if someone that is religious, that is having a false belief that is not based on their religion, if that is threatened, are they willing to consider new evidence and change their belief? And if they are, regarding anything but religion, why is it then that with the religion that they will maintain their belief in spite of all evidence? If it is because of fear of their God, something I want to point out, and because Christianity is a fear-based religion, fear is false evidence that appears real. And if your entire basis for a belief system is based on false evidence, you have a false belief. And it doesn't matter if it's a religious aspect or a job aspect or any aspect of life. If the belief you're holding is not valid, and if you're not willing to let anything be presented that could challenge that belief, it's not a logical or sound belief. And it is one that needs to change, especially when new evidence comes in that disproves what the belief was about. But feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Later, people.